everyone. It's your favorite host, Marcus Norman, for round 2 of today's episodes. We got a special guest. This woman is near and dear to my heart. She is from my island, and we grew up together, and she is phenomenal. She's here today. We are going to talk about emotions and feelings and allowing yourself to feel through some of the pain and the things that we are going through, and to address mental health concerns that she specializes in. She coaches and teaches and helps families and friends and loved ones transition through those experiences. And she is the CEO, founder of an incredible podcast that I just subscribed to, which is called Spirit Soul Sense. You all won't want to miss this jam-packed episode and this phenom of a queen coming to the stage. So stay tuned, stay with us. Here we go. Hey everybody, it's your favorite host, Marcus Norman, your favorite gentleman of the Gentleman Style Podcast show. Today I have Shareece Cannonier. She was born and raised in St. Croix, USVI, represent, where she witnessed mental health concerns in children displayed as irritability, anger, aggressions, substance abuse, and relational difficulties. Dr. Cannonier was an early admission student and new mom when she earned her bachelor's and master's, plugging away at the University of the Virgin Islands. This woman is incredible. She now does her own private practice, and she also earned her doctorate from Carlos University. Her postdoctoral work experience further honored her diagnostic and psychoeducational report writing abilities. She now is a licensed practitioner, and she created her telehealth private practice called Cannonier Psychological Center, LLC, where she provides psychotherapy, spiritual life coaching, and academic coaching with a focus on serving culturally diverse individuals in the U.S. Virgin Islands and several states across the globe. Help me welcome to the stage, Dr. Shareece.
Ooh, epic intro.
You did the work. This is you. I didn't make any of that stuff up. Thank you for joining us, Queen. How are you?
I am fabulous.
Absolutely. Pleasure to have you. Isn't she incredible? I love the flowers. I can smell it, feel the oxygen around her, the energy around her. That is, I just got a green screen, so forgive me. I'm not as exciting as her, y'all.
Oh, you're so silly. Thank you.
Miss Shareece, Dr. Shareece, thank you for joining us today. I wanted to talk about, we're going to talk about some really powerful things. One of the big things is the Will Smith slap heard across the world. But first, I want to dive in. What is something that you do day in and day out? What is something that you do that really sets the tone of your day, that makes you just feel alive and really starts your day off well?
One of the most important things for me is to wake up with the sun. I tried doing the 5 a.m. thing. It doesn't really work for me. But when I'm back home, it's easy to wake up super early because the sun is up super early. If the sun is up at 5, I'm up at 5. Sun is up at 6, I'm up at 6. I live in Georgia, in Atlanta, Georgia now. So the sun, it does that whole hour thing. But when I'm up with the sun, it's already going to be a fantastic day. And then I get a cup of tea. I visit with my plants for a little bit. Then it's a fantastic. It'll be a great day. Yeah.
I love that. So what kind of tea do you drink? Is it green tea, black tea?
Right now, I guess I'm on the tail end of my obsession with chai tea, because I tried like 24 different varieties and brand of chai tea. When I find something, I get real obsessive. So chai tea is what I had. No, I didn't have chai tea today. I probably had like some echinacea herbal tea. I'm sensitive to caffeine, so I can't have it in large quantities. So I do herbal tea. Yeah.
Same. I can't have caffeine. So I've been in a chai tea phase for a year now. I don't think I'm leaving.
Okay.
So good on you to be able to transition to your teas. And would you say 100 different varieties?
24.
Okay, I
challenge.
was like, that's not an addiction. You're fine.
He does.
You're
He
fine.
does. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is you are the
Try
CEO?
black.
Go ahead.
No, go. I was just saying I was gonna try black tea next.
Ooh, you're
Yeah,
brave.
just
You're,
regular black tea. Yeah.
you're brave. I couldn't. I tried it. It didn't work out well. It didn't end well.
Oh,
I'm gonna leave it right there.
mm,
What is
I
you
feel
are the
you.
CEO founder of Spirit Soul Sense. What is
Hmm.
Spirit Soul Sense, and what can people expect? What made you get started
What
in
is
the industry?
spiritual sense? Spirit Soul Sense is my YouTube channel where I talk a lot about God, uh, areas that you can improve your life. I cover a lot about being in the present moment, being your best self, and healing. And then I always like to say relationships are for the evolution of your soul. And so I think relationships can be healing. Like partnerships are super important to me. And so I also focus a lot on healthy and happy relationships. But to be in a healthy and happy relationship, you have to heal from any trauma that you've experienced and or heal from any toxic relationships that you've been in. So I cover a lot of that on my channel.
For sure. Check her out. I love it. I just subscribed last night and I couldn't click away, y'all. It was like I was binge watching because she sucks you in. She sucks you into the
What?
different topics. And it's like, man, this is the cheapest therapist you could ever afford. Is her
Like
channel.
my videos, yeah, I have a playlist called what? Ways to feel better about yourself, improve ways to improve your life and feel better about yourself, which I'm quite proud of because I feel like, it really covers a lot of different areas that you can do, like little things to make your life better.
That's true. It's
Yeah.
so true. She has, unbeknownst to her, she's become my therapist now.
That's
So
funny. I can't be anyone's therapist that I know, which is why I offer spiritual life coaching. So anyone who finds me on YouTube, like this is their first time ever hearing about me, I do spiritual life coaching with them. And if I feel like they have symptoms, experiences that are too much for coaching, then I just refer them to somebody else to do, like intensive therapy.
makes
A lot,
sense.
yeah, a lot of people benefit from coaching though.
They do. I think it's not talked about enough. I think we kind of just go to church and we pray about it, and then that's kind of where the buck stops. We stop right there. We don't, and also to people who, how do I say this?
Yeah.
They address themselves as life coaches,
Uh-huh.
right? They never you sometimes someone can be out of your range. They can be out of your depth.
Right.
And you need to transition, which is what you just said. You need to transition them to the next level.
Right.
And I think we don't do that enough.
I agree. I actually did a video on my channel about the difference between a life coach and a therapist, right? Because they do overlap, but I think the severity is the biggest difference between the two.
True. Very true. Very, very true. So Dr. Cannonier,
Yes.
tell us, when did you first encounter, because that's an unusual thing. You've been doing this since what, 16? You had the desire, the passion to enter this industry since 16. When did you first encounter someone who suffered from mental health?
I would say the first time I noticed anyone with mental health concerns was when I was in junior high. And
It wasn't me, was it?
No, it wasn't you.
Whew.
It wasn't you. But this guy that I had a crush on would miss a lot of days from school. And I was just so confused because I never missed a day from school. And so then I learned about like his mom had to work, then he had to watch like his other siblings. But junior high, one of my concerns with like back home at junior high is it's this period where boys are turning into men, and they can really get sucked into one way of manhood. And so I just remember like a lot of fights, but the way fights, like physical fights would occur, like what prompted it, how people felt, slighted, the eye contact thing, and then the physical fight. I remember watching one of these boys who I think I follow him on Facebook now. He was crying. He was just crying. He was fuming and he was crying. He was crying because he wanted to fight somebody. What? What in the world? So that was wild to me. Just me as an observer watching these boys fighting, right? It was a lot of that, this poor emotional regulation. I would say that was the first time. But I also talked like briefly about my father has delusion. And so I didn't know, right? He believed things that are not real, right? He believed things that just don't exist, right? In his mind, I'm going to marry African prince, right? And I'll be an African princess. No, no, that's not going to happen. It's not just an idea. It's not just like a wish. It's like he really believes it. So that was like my second experience. And so the combination of wanting to help people in pain and then wanting to work with kids is how I specifically specialize with working with kids.
And that evolved over time. How is that transition? Because 16 years old is still, I had no idea. Well, I take that back. I knew exactly where I was going at 16.
Oh, you
But
did?
that's not normal for anyone to know right off the bat that I'm going to I'm going to address the people's pain and help them through it.
I met a Black woman psychologist on St. Croix. She was actually working on the technical side of complex. And when I met her, I was like, "It's over. That's it. That's what I'm doing. That's it." And that's really all I've ever done since. My first real job was working at a crisis unit in Anna's Hope. Right? I that was like, getting paid minimum wage to like watch what I call badass kids, right? Kids who were removed from their home because of mental illness, violent behavior, suicidal ideation. Like these were these kids. So, and I was, what was I, 20? Maybe I was
She
like, this.
still looks 20. She still looks
Oh,
20
you're
though.
so silly. Well, thank you. But it's all because when I went to college, I was a double major. I was like, I'll do psychology and I'll do marine biology because I love nature. But then the marine biology part wasn't really sticking. I was like, I'll just get my scuba license. I still haven't got my scuba license. But then I was like, you know what? Psychology is super, super important to me. So that's what I'm going to do, right? So from 16, I already knew I was going to get my doctorate in psychology. That was just a given because this is the kind of work that I want to do. Yeah.
So you stuck to your guns. You see, so many people transition so many different levels. I'm over here, I'm over there, but you stuck
Yeah.
to it.
I mean, right, there's different ways to go about in life. I'm also an old soul. I found that out too when I was a teenager. All these, people would be like, "Oh, you an old soul. Oh, you wise beyond your years." There was, all this stuff. So I feel like I came into this world knowing some things that some people had to learn, right, in time and figure out. In 20 years, I might be doing something different.
It's true.
In 5 years, I won't really be doing something different. That's a lie. But when my son graduates from high school,
Changing.
the world is changing, but I have no idea what I'll be doing then. Like, I have no idea. I'm open.
I remember I don't know how often it happened, but I remember you would be reading where everyone else was kind of like gallivanting to school and running all up and down and
Where would
chasing
I be
boys.
reading?
You would have a book with you. Like early in the morning, sometimes you would read. Lunchtime you would read.
I
Like
couldn't
you were
even tell you I was reading.
I couldn't tell you either because that
Marcus,
was
how
not
you know all of this?
because I was the quiet kid. I wasn't popular, but I was a
I wasn't
quiet kid.
popular either.
But I just paid attention. I paid attention
Okay.
to a lot of, and you would read, and I was like, what in the world?
Yeah.
And then I would just run off and go chase girls or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm still obsessed with books. I started doing on my Facebook sharing the books that I read like every quarter because I love books. I don't buy a lot of physical books anymore. I check out books from the library, virtual books, audio books or like virtual books, ebooks that you read because yeah, books are so important just to like humanity. I love art and books are a form of art. So yeah, I could read like a thick book in a weekend. That's how I used to spend a lot of my weekends as a kid, just reading whole books and just, going through so many books. So I don't even have like a favorite book. I
Told you.
don't have a
Told
favorite.
y'all.
I don't even have like my favorite spiritual book is Seat of the Soul by Gary Zukav, but it's mostly because if I was a white man born in 1940 something, I would be Gary Zukav. Like I would go live on the side of a mountain. I would go write books, right? I would take whatever money I had and I would go live in a cabin. That's what I would do. But
Oh wow.
I'm a Caribbean Black woman. But I relate a lot to his desire for solitude, his desire for peace and quiet. So that's like my favorite spiritual book because I really, really, really like the author. I don't think I feel like that about any other. Well, Dune. Have you seen the new Dune movie?
I have. I
The
have.
movie, the
The,
movie is spectacular.
it is. It's intense. I watched it in IMAX, and so they recommend that you watch it in IMAX because even the music of Dune,
Yeah.
they wanted you to when they were traveling through the desert, they want you to feel every grain of sand.
Yes.
They want the musician, the director of that the director who directed the music portion, he wants you to feel where they
Yeah.
are. The heat.
Well, I watched it at home on HBO. Okay.
Same thing, same thing.
But the books are also spectacular. And sometimes I feel a little sad that I discover a book so late. But the books are spectacular. It's like my latest. I just finished reading them. But the Hobbits, not the Hobbit, Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Although there's no Black people in Lord of the Rings, it is a reflection of a time, right? I feel like people project their world's view, their experience into a book. The trilogy of the Lord of the Rings, I've read twice. So I think it's because it's all about the battle of good and evil, and that's in us. So it resonates so much with me. I love like the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Yeah.
Very true. Very true. I wanted to address your YouTube channel and your most recent interview that has just struck a chord with me, and it was powerful. I think a lot of people go through this. We go through. We're in the cancel era where everybody's just like, write this off. I'm done with this. Get this out of my life. I'm done. But you did something unique. You and Indira had I don't want to say a falling out, but you lost touch, but you worked on rebuilding that close relationship, and then you discussed it, and you discussed the transition of that on your channel. Tell us why was that important to rebuild that friendship, or what can we do? How can we tell what friendships we should save or friendships that we need to end and just let those go?
Great question, Marcus. I in this conversation we had, I wanted to detail the foundation of our friendship because I think that's where you'll find out whether this is a relationship worth saving or not. So I call her my soul sister. We're technically not best friends anymore, right? But what is a label? We're very close, right? We're very close now. Our foundation is it's just a lot of events, right? It's a series of events. That's how you build trust in a relationship, in a friendship. It's like over time, these things are happening and you guys talk about it, you become closer. And so we had a very, very strong foundation. It was toxic at times, but you show up for me, I show up for you always, right? That was pretty solid. And so when we did start having this, it wasn't like friendship breakup. I call it a friendship breakup. And it was just as painful as breaking up with a romantic partner. It was, man, it was slow and painful, right? It's just like the slowness of it. I think a lot of times in romantic relationships, you just break up, but it happened while I was evolving and I was going through things in a way different than her. And so by the time we had that traumatic incident in our friendship that I talk about in this video, it was the last strand that broke. Yeah. And since then, I mean, from that time for the next 2 years, maybe we were like missing each other. We were, she was doing stuff I didn't like. I was doing stuff she didn't like. And then we weren't talking for periods of time. I think around our birthdays, because we're exactly a month apart. She's March 29th, I'm April 29th. And we would connect around our birthdays during that like really, really difficult time. But you know, she knew my family, I knew her family. Like there was a lot of things. But always at the back of my mind was like, I miss her. Like I miss being able to talk about anything with this person, right? So if you miss your friend, and you miss positive things about being with this friend, I would say that's a good sign that maybe it's salvageable. But at the same time, it takes two people to make a friendship work and for it to be healthy. And so I knew that she was in therapy. She knew that I was in therapy. We were working on ourselves. And so that when we did communicate with each other, it would get better. Because part of my problem was I didn't want to talk about things that I thought would hurt her feelings, right? I didn't want to say things out loud because I was afraid of making her feel bad. And then when I got to the point where I was like, hey, I can respect her and be honest with her. Like those things don't have to be opposites. Like love and respect and honesty at the same time helped bring us back together. But just as long as it took to end the friendship is as long as it took to rebuild the friendship. I compare our friendship a lot to Issa and Molly on Insecure. In the TV show Insecure, you go from one episode of them not being friends and the next episode they are friends. It's just so unrealistic, I think, for real life that it is difficult. Like real people take energy and time, and yeah, so it was years. It was years. And now we're really good. Now we're really good.
Really tight. It's really fun. How do you know? So, and you said it. I think you said it earlier. It's like one of the ways to know when a friendship is salvageable is one, do you genuinely miss that person? Do you desire the no, one, does the good outweigh the bad, right?
Right.
The whole reason why you disconnected in the first place. Is there enough good there to override and forgive?
Right.
And if there isn't, that's one thing. But then two, what you said is, do I miss them?
Mhm.
And it has to be mutual. It has to be a mutual, and that's what you both discussed on that episode, is that she would reach out. She would try and reach out and reconnect.
Yes.
There was a point where you were just kind of like, I still need time. I still
Yeah.
need a little bit more. And then she got into like, she would check on you weekly. She would check on
Mhm.
you every 2 weeks. And it was just, but you stayed consistent and it was both a mutual thing.
I
So I
would I
love
would
that.
say it was definitely her reaching out more. Um, and there were times when I was not receptive,
Yeah.
but
She didn't give
it,
up.
but she didn't give up, and I also reached out too. I think right because of that part where it takes two people. Even though she was reaching out more, I was still reaching out too.
And that's so important. That's so crucial. Because like I said, in this cancel culture,
Mhm.
we quickly dismiss people without kind of without, just kind of even getting the answer why. And you discussed that. You said the why. You both
Mhm.
said the reason what really started the fire to that relationship, and you were like, she ain't pick me up. Like, so
How
huge.
dare she?
Yeah, but she gave you grace in it
Yeah.
too. She was like, "This is so unlike you."
Right. Right.
So
Right.
so many levels to that. You guys got to check out that interview. That not even interview, it was a conversation, it was a
Mhm.
dialogue, but it was so powerful. Miss Leona, hey Leona, does the friendship add to your life versus take away from it? So
Yeah,
so
that's
true.
a good point.
So true. You're
Yeah.
right. We have.
Also,
Go ahead.
there are levels of friendship, right? So this is a close friend, but there are friends, there are acquaintances. You don't have to X somebody out of your life completely. You can just enact certain boundaries so that they only have access to certain parts of you.
Mm. You said the magic word for the day. You said
Boundaries?
you said the magic word for the day. Our gentleman style podcast host, he loves boundaries.
That is hilarious.
We love boundaries here on this episode. We set them
Yeah.
all the time. We set them often. We have one quick commercial break, y'all. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I'm Marcus Norman, bringing fresh vibes to hot topics surrounding culture, relationships, business, finance, sex, dating, faith, and everything in between. Whether you're into passive income opportunities, trending topics and useful relationship tips, or dynamic guest speakers, there's something for everyone. You can expect all that and more every week. If you're down with this content, then consider joining our growing community by subscribing to Gentleman Style Podcast and smash the bell to get on our VIP list. Your support means the world. Thanks for watching. Link to my channel.
If you're looking for a reliable professional trucking and logistics service, you've come to the right place. Musa Trucking is a veteran-owned and operated premier transportation provider that can help with all of your trucking and logistics needs. Musa is revolutionizing the trucking industry through strategic partnerships, the development of core personnel, and the use of cutting-edge technology. Our inventory system ensures that cargo ends up divided into the right trucks and reaching the correct destination. Our drivers are dedicated to transporting goods efficiently and safely. Contact us today to get started by visiting the website on the screen or by calling 757-756-5246.
We are back to the Gentleman Style Podcast show. We have, yes. We have the incredible Dr. Shareece, and she's here spilling the tea on mental health and how for years, since the age of 16, she walked this path out into helping families, helping loved ones, people get to a better place and coping with mental illness. This is such a traumatic experience. And the most common experience that we've seen today is the Will Smith slap heard across the world at the Oscars nomination. And so that is the hottest topic. I know a lot of people are like, when is this going to end? But
do people still care about this?
Yeah, it's like, when is this going to end? Like, a lot of celebrities have stopped talking about it because they're like, I don't want to address it anymore. It happened. He got an award. They're dealing with it. They're handling it. I don't want to address it. But it addresses, it touches on the underlying thing, which is the mental health aspect, right? How bold does someone have to be to stand up on stage? Yes, you were offended, you felt attacked, or your wife felt attacked, to stand up on stage and physically assault someone. Dr. Shareece, what are your initial thoughts on the Will Smith, Chris Rock Oscar slap? Is this a prime example of male toxicity or big dick energy? What do you feel?
This is such a layered question.
Sorry.
Oh my God. Okay, well, big dick energy is it's like silent confidence. And I would say male toxicity is really weakness. Weakness is a better word for the male toxicity or toxic masculinity. Just weakness is a better word for it. I have so many feelings about things. I didn't think, oh, this person must be so bold. My initial thoughts were, oh, Will is in deep pain, right? That was the first thing that I saw. I think just the way I am programmed and then the extensive training that I've received, it's very, very easy for me to spot someone in pain, right? That's why I have to take social media breaks, because I could be scrolling, and even if somebody is smiling, like I can tell, like you were crying before you took this picture, like you are in pain. And so watching Will Smith slap Chris Rock, I was just like, man, there's just so much pain. There's just so much pain here. And it's unfortunate that that's what it was. But then again, I think that everything that we experience and everything that he's experiencing in his life is an opportunity for him to go deeper into himself and to be closer with God, the source, spirit, oneness. I think he's going to get better after this. But yeah, I was like, he's in deep pain, and I hope he finds healing.
Yeah. it was such a I didn't watch the Oscars, and I think a lot of people didn't, because that's
Right.
typically kind of like, it's a kind of behind the scenes award ceremony. Most people watch like the BET Awards,
Yeah.
those types of awards, but the Oscars is kind of, nighttime. I'm in bed, I'll wake up and find out who got the award. But when I woke up to it, it was all over social media, and I didn't believe it, because I thought it was spam, until more prominent people started talking about it and said, oh, this is real, this really happened. Then that's when I dove in and researched and found the videos and the clips, and it really happened, and so many emotions behind it. And like you said, the initial act, because if you watch the clip, if you see the clip, when Chris Rock, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you guys need to go find this thing. But
No, don't go find it.
don't go right. Don't add any more fuel to the fire. But it's so traumatic. At one point in the clip, he's laughing, and Chris Rock is a comedian. We all know him, and he makes a reference point to Jada Pinkett Smith's bald head, and referencing the G.I. Jane film. And he makes a joke. He's a comedian. This is what he does for a living.
Right. And
unexpectedly, Will Smith trounces on stage and marches, like, he just rudely, just, no one called him up. He just like, I'm gonna take it upon myself to get up on stage and physically slap Chris Rock.
That's what happened.
And that when he walked back, and the thing, what eluded after, it struck you as, there's something else here. That's what struck me. Yeah. There's something else behind the scenes that we cannot see that's going on.
I would agree.
And it was heartbreaking, because it could have been done, in my opinion, it could have been done better. That's why I asked the question, is this, because also as a man, I think we get conflicted in protecting our women. I think that's not talked about enough, is in the age of the separation of black women and black men, that can come up as men not protecting their women.
Right.
And so I can also see the point of, my wife feels embarrassed. She might feel embarrassed. She might feel hurt, especially because she's going through a medical transition with her hair. And now you just made a joke about it. I may feel a whelp of emotion, a swelling of emotion, to want to act and defend her honor. And so, but initially I was just like, man, something else is here. And that hurt. It hurt, because it could have been done so much better.
I agree.
But you tell me, as a woman, would you want your man? How would you want your man to defend you in that way? You're suffering from a medical condition, and a famous comedian makes a joke about.
Look, this is on me. It don't.
It could be on me. I'll bring it back.
No, I mean, there's so many variables we don't know, and so if I was Jada, I think exactly what she did is exactly what I would do if I was her. If it was me, though, I think I would have shared already on social media that I was unhappy with losing my hair. That's not what she told people. She told people that she's embracing this, this. So it just sends a conflicted message to people. So me, I like transparency and honesty. I would have told people, I don't like this. I don't like it. I don't like it. And so that everybody who interviewed me would be like, so how are you feeling about the hair? And then I could be like, I don't like it, right? And so then it would be like a clear and open thing, that it's not a thing to be made fun of. It's a sore spot for me. When it comes to the whole men protecting, listen, I've got so many thoughts, okay? At the end of the day, I'm a long-term planner, right? I have goals, and going to grad school was a long-term goal. When I started and I took those first 3 classes, I knew I would have years and years of classes. If I'm partnering with a man, and work is very important to him, why would I, as a way of protecting me, want him to disrespect himself, us, and other people at work? To me, that doesn't feel like protection, right? I think Men provide, protect, they do a whole bunch of other things, but provide, protect are one of the biggest things that they do. How can you protect me with no job? Or I mean, not that they don't have their jobs. Will Smith is not lacking for money,
Sure.
but his reputation, it's just, there's so many things that come to my mind when I hear about, well, he's protecting her. Really? That's what protection looks like to you? That is not what protection looks like to me. It doesn't look like that to me. There's so many ways that don't involve physical altercation that would help me as a woman feel safe, loved, respected, protected. Then that, yeah, it's not that.
Yeah. If you're watching in the audience, please share. Like, hey, ladies, men, how do you view protection? That's huge. And yeah, I could see that. Like, for me, I wouldn't have addressed it that way. I would not walk up and I saw, and people jokingly said, well, what if that was The Rock? Would you act in that same way, knowing that this man is physically towering over Chris Rock?
I already know.
Yeah. It would have been a completely different outcome.
I think because I also heard women talking about this online, and I don't have any brothers, right? I don't have any brothers, but I have friends, male friends of family. I've had male mentors, like very upstanding, logical, just men, right? Men in all the sense of the word. And I felt like I have a good understanding of men. And one of the things I feel like happens in man stuff, right? Man stuff.
It's fine. No, we with you. We with you.
You know what
I'm
I
with
mean,
you.
right? So when a man is being confronted by another man, I think, right, as a woman, this is my perspective, I think men are considering, can I physically beat this man up if he attacks me? Does this person also have anyone else around that could harm or kill me? There's like a level when they talk about like the alpha male. When men are around each other, y'all size each other up, and you know, you do all these things. You decide for yourself if an area is safe. So when people jokingly say The Rock, I'm like, well, you already know men size each other up. There's no way a smaller man would walk up to a larger man and think that he would be able to beat him up. That's just not how it happens, unless he has like a death wish. That's just not typical for men to do. Men fight battles they think they can win. I think that was the split-second thought in his head. This guy is on stage. He's smaller than me. I could slap him and walk away. Easy. With most men on the block, on the corner, I don't know, wherever, wouldn't do something like that, because there is a low-level threat of violence when a bunch of men who don't know each other, like, you just never know.
Yeah. There is that squaring off, right? And that assessment, that quick thinking assessment, like you said, who's around? Am I physically taller? Am I physically muscular? Can I overpower him quickly if things go astray? And so, yeah, there is that initial squaring off to say, who am I in this element? Who am I in this space? Right? Am I the alpha in this space, or am I the weaker mammal here? And so I will act accordingly based off of who's in the room with me. If I'm the predominantly sized alpha male in this room, then I'll probably act differently than the weakest person in the room. So
sounds like masculinity talking. Yeah.
Sorry.
No apologies. I feel like I know what it's like to be in a room full of guys talking. And I feel like people online just don't understand what guys are like. I just like, which is one of my concerns with this whole thing, right? Because I don't care about the Will Smith situation. What I do care about is the ramifications. So I had to talk to my 14-year-old. We didn't watch the Oscars, right? We don't watch the news. But I knew, because it was all over social media, that it would be something that he was exposed to at school. So now I need to have a conversation with my 14-year-old about appropriate responses to being slighted or disrespected, right? Will Smith and his wife felt disrespected, and that was the response. Well, we know in real life, young Black boys are killing each other over perceived disrespect. That's what's really happening, which was my biggest concern, because these are the kids I work with. I've worked with kids who've killed other kids for doing some of the simplest things you can think of. Kills other people over this. And I know, like, even right now in St. Croix, there's these gangs and my spots and all this stuff. I know that young Black men are killing each other over disrespect. Oh, you dissed me. All that. So that was my biggest issue with the way it was handled, because violence typically leads to more violence. And it escalates until somebody gets a gun and kills somebody. It doesn't stop there even, because then the next person wants to retaliate with a gun again. I'm just like, y'all not realize that this is what could be happening? Not saying that Will Smith is responsible for all Black people. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying it informs our culture. It informs the way we respond to people. So I had to have the conversation with the boy.
Yeah.
This kind of thing is not okay. If somebody diss me, if somebody talks about his mother, me.
That's a common one.
Do I want him to physically assault somebody over words? No, you meet the level of threat with the same level. If you need to protect yourself, then you do it. But you don't need to protect yourself from somebody's words in a physical way.
Right. You address it with words. Yeah.
Yeah.
Violence follows violence. You're so right. Do you think Jada addressed it well, or lack of? Did you think, is there anything that she could have done?
It? She said they're in healing. So, yeah. Well, what I've heard people talk about, she's not defending Will.
That's what I've heard as well.
And I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, right? Because there's no way my husband would have walked on stage and, right? I know I don't control another human being, but I wouldn't be partnered with a person who still has so much healing to do in their 50s. No, there's no way. I think because they've been so pretentiously open in the past, right? Because I think these people are lying, and I think they're not really transparent about healing. And I think the whole family is in pain. Yeah. But they've shared so much that now people expect that they will share more, right? That they will share what really triggered Will, right? Because they've already explained y'all had whole sex with other people in your marriage and like all of this. So you're not gonna tell us why Will slapped him? You're not gonna tell us? You're not gonna tell us that you're thankful that you have a wonderful husband that would do anything to protect you? You're not gonna tell us that? Okay, that's weird, but okay. I feel like her response now is appropriate. The family is in pain. They need healing. They don't need to be talking and telling strangers on the internet what's going on in their lives. It's none of our business. None of it was any of our business. That's why I stopped watching their Red Table Talk, because I realized they were not really serious about it.
They thrive off of it, it seemed like, almost for a little bit. They thrived off of the pain that they were still not dealing with.
They made money off of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. What do you think is the next step? Do you think past traumas can come back and affect our relationships? And if so, how can we, in your professional experience, how can we deal with this before it comes up? What do you recommend? Should we not be dating at all?
No, I wouldn't recommend that. Eckhart Tolle, one of my favorite authors, says you will learn immensely more in a relationship about yourself and evolving as a person than you ever will by yourself. I think there are some people who transcend relationships. I think those people are monks, right? Monks and nuns. I think those people transcend romantic relationship. But I think as long as you're not explicitly hurting people, right? You're not a liar, right? You're not a user, right? You're a regular person. You have some things to work on, like the rest of us. Like, you have some things to work on. I think dating is fine. I think dating is fine. I don't think we never fully arrive in life. This is just the journey. And if you stop growing when you die, I think that's what happens. So yes, there are some traumas that can be discussed with your therapist, things that you can heal, but you will always be triggered at some point by your partner. Always. It's just the nature of being human. They're going to do something, they're going to say something, a life event will happen. If you stay with somebody long enough, things will happen, right? Things outside of you, environmental things, job things, child things, something will happen and you will get triggered. And I think that's part of us growing. It's fine to get triggered. It's part of, oh, I didn't know this area of me still needed healing. Okay, now you know. And you can learn and grow. The best, most beautiful part about, I think, being partnered is finding someone you can do that with, finding someone you trust, finding someone you love, who is willing to hold your hand when you are at your worst, when you are at your lowest, when you are not the best version of yourself. And they're like, I'm with you. We got this. We can do this together. I got you.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. The Gentleman Style Podcast host, co-host, my co-host loves it. That is so true. And that is, no one can come into a relationship completely healed, right? We can't come in perfect. I think the best relationships, the strongest relationships, like Dr. Shareece said, are the ones where we can combine and we can learn and we can grow together, because we're two people from two different backgrounds, two different parts of the world cannot be expected to just harmonize in one sitting. Right. Like, now we're married, now we mesh, now we're good. Yeah. No.
Try living with somebody.
Yeah. And now I'm living with this person, right? You can do all the research you want. You can date for as long as you want. You're not going to know everything.
Right.
But being willing to learn and being willing to grow and being open to this other person's place, and they being open to working on it. That's the other side of the coin. Is I need to work on this, and I will allow you to help me work through this. Thank you for, you know what I'm saying? That we can't do this alone. So tremendous. Dr. Shareece, what can, any nuggets, any tips, any advice, because mental health and mental health problems and suffering is such a big, I want to say pandemic, an epidemic, right? And that's not being addressed enough. What are things we can do if I see someone suffering from mental health? What can I do to help them?
Well, my number one tip is worry about yourself. I think it's great to want to help other people, but I think any hyper focus on somebody else or how they're living their life is a distraction from how you can improve yourself and your life. But there are things, right? Because my sisters don't want to go to therapy. Well, some maybe have done. One of the things I've done is recommend books, right? I love books. So I've recommended books, but just a recommendation, not a follow-up, not a did you read it, not a anything. Recommend the book. They know it exists, and that's the end of that. Recommend therapy, but I'm not recommending therapy constantly to anybody. You know, I'm like, I'm in therapy. I think we can all benefit from therapy. Have you ever thought about seeing someone professionally to work on some of your difficulties? Have you? That's it. But I don't think it's we can't fix anyone. So there's no real love people as they are. Put those boundaries that you need up. You know, communicate with them. You know, positive way. But don't. From experience, don't try to fix anybody. Don't do it.
Y'all heard it.
The best thing you can do is to live your life joyfully, because then you're an inspiration to people and they can look at you and think, why are you so happy? And you like love life. Every time I see her, she's smiling. Every time she's talking about she like life. Yeah, I do. Okay. And I think people like that live their life by example. And you can just go back and look and see what they've done to get to the place. Yeah.
Love it. Dr. Shareece, y'all. Told y'all, jam-packed episode. Dr. Shareece, how can we connect with you? How can we grow with you? How can we learn more?
learn more by subscribing to my YouTube channel. If you enjoy my content, it's called Spirit Soul Sense. You can also send me an email. I have a spiritsoulsense@gmail.com for anything that has to do with the YouTube channel or like spirituality stuff. If somebody wants to request a session for spiritual life coaching, then you can go to CannonierPsychologicalCenter.com. Yeah. I'm on Instagram too, but I hate Instagram. So.
What? You don't like Instagram?
No.
Okay, that's fair.
Or TikTok. TikTok is the worst.
What? TikTok? Those 30 seconds get me all the time.
They don't get me.
You're good. You're better.
No, I'm not good. I'm sensitive to people's pain.
Mm.
That's really what it is. And there's just so much pain on those things.
It's true.
Anyway.
So true.
But there's also a lot of joy too, right? And I have to actually seek those out. So, yeah.
Absolutely. You're so right. Doctor, thank you for being on the show. I told y'all, my incredible friend from the island, I love to see us doing well. When I reached out to her, I was so excited that she responded. As you can tell this entire episode. This was fun. This was incredible. You are incredible. I want to say to you publicly, Doctor, don't ever quit. Don't ever give up. We need you. We need what you're doing.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate you. And thank you all. We got to let her go. We are running out of time. We got to let the good doctor go back to her beautiful flowers and her day. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the Gentleman Style Podcast show. I hope this was helpful. I hope this helps. And I hope it shines a light that not all hope is lost, right? We can heal. We can get better. We can grow from tragedy. It's not over. This is not the end. And so I hope this was inspirational. Yeah. Leona, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in and supporting. You're phenomenal. And thank you all who tuned in. This is Gentleman Style Podcast Show. I hope this message helps. I hope this helps you take your level, your spirit, encourage and feel enthralled that you can do anything and take things to the next level. Like I always end every show, take care of your friends, take care of your families, and always, always take care of business. This is Marcus Norman, your favorite gentleman, and the incredible, phenomenal Dr. Shareece Cannonier.
Thank you.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.